continue to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the National Park Service with our series, America the Beautiful. This morning, we tour a park that many people might overlook. It sits on prime real estate right in the middle of crowded San Francisco. John Blackstone takes us to the Presidio, an urban oasis with a rich history.
As the sun rises over one of the most densely populated cities in America, it also wakes up one of the largest urban national parks in the country, the almost 1,500-acre Presidio of San Francisco.
I like to think of it as the whole national park system collapsed down into one place.
Michael Boland is with the Presidio Trust, which manages the park.
There are these beautiful coastal bluffs that are wild, and you can barely see any of San Francisco. There's the waterfront along Crissy Field. You can walk in the forest. So it's a little like Vatican City. We're like this little enclave in the middle of San Francisco.
This enclave owes its existence to the military. It was founded and served as a strategic army post for 3 different nations, starting with Spain.
The front part of the Presidio Officers Club was built by the Spanish in 1776.
In 1776?
Yep, 1776. I'm not lying, really. They came here in 1776. It was the very northern end of the Spanish Empire.
So these 13 colonies in the east were forming. This was Spanish territory.
It was Spanish territory.
This is the first building in San Francisco.
Yep, this is the real deal.
And a city grew up around it.
Yep, absolutely.
As the city grew, the posts changed hands, from Spain to Mexico, and by 1847, the United States. This was seen as a very strategic location.
Yeah, this was the harbor of all harbors.
Rick Penn worked here before the Army closed the post in 1994. An act of Congress transferred it to the National Park Service, and Penn stayed on as a ranger.
And defenses has always been part of the Presidio story.
And this is part of that defense.
And this is a 50-ton massive gun, 6-inch shell that could be fired out 7.5 miles out to defend the coast.
You got a duck getting in here.
Oh yeah, I call this the Alice in Wonderland door.
So when was this built?
Opened its doors in 1861, same year as the Civil War.
Penn says defenses like those here at Fort Point were built to protect shipments flowing out of the California gold rush. So there were cannons lined up here looking out to the Golden Gate.
Yes, each of these little square casemates had a cannon that could be fired almost literally to the other side of the bay. So any ships coming through would have to run the gauntlet of 102 cannon.
Wow, 102 cannon. Despite never firing a shot in anger, the fort had a huge impact on the city's most famous landmark.
Originally, the large supports for the Golden Gate Bridge were to sit in this area, but the architect, Joseph Strauss, decided to preserve the fort, went back to the drawing board and drew this arch. And the arch was actually here because of the preservation of the fort. 400 Buffalo soldiers buried here. And
although the Presidio is infused with history,
this was known as the Military Intelligence Service, sometimes called America's secret weapon during World War II.
Its modern role as a place to live, work, and play is what sets it apart from other parks.
We were the first national park to become financially self-sufficient. There were about 1,500 housing units in the Presidio. Those have all been renovated and rented, and there's an incredible number of families that live here. Buildings that are office uses, we just lease them. We have a whole collection of organizations that provide opportunities for people to play. They're both about welcoming the public, creating great experiences, but also supporting the park so that we can continue to be financially self-sufficient.
All the things that a national park could offer, but right in the middle of a city.
Right in the middle of the city.
But while the funding model is unique,
you can even sit with a ranger around a campfire and have s'mores right in the middle of San Francisco.
At the end of the day, it's the experience for visitors that makes the Presidio a national treasure. For CBS This Morning, John Blackstone, San Francisco.
Every shot absolutely stunningly beautiful.
So amazing. A great series, too, to remind us of the bounty of this country.
You can actually live there. That's the part. I want an apartment in there.